podcast with Kara from Outcomes Tracking. Welcome, welcome. How's your day been so far?
It's been amazing. Thanks so much for having us.
Awesome. No, we're super happy you're here. So, day 2 of Door to Door Con. How's your experience been over the last 2 days?
It has been so cool considering this has been our launch in the States. We've been learning about how it all works over here, the different industries, because in Australia, we don't have roofing. Like roofing sales and pest sales aren't a big thing over there, so it's really cool learning these different industries, how they all work and all the different needs, and identifying that there is that gap still with the software over here, the gap in that skill set analytics. So
let's take a step back for a minute. So you guys started in Australia, been launched in Australia for how long?
Outcomes Tracking has been live in Australia just over a year, so just since the end of 2022.
Awesome, and then this is your weekend you've launched in the US, right?
Official launch.
Awesome.
Yeah, very
Congratulations, that's phenomenal. And so give me a little background on Outcomes Tracking. What is it? What's your specialty? What is Outcomes Tracking?
Cool. So Outcomes Tracking is an app for your guys on the field, and it tracks how far through the pitch they got. So think of it as law of average analytics. So the little gap and niche that we're filling is pre-CRM, and it's around the skill set of, like in solar and roofing, if you have setters, why aren't the setters performing? Where in their pitch is letting them down and actually holding them back from getting to the level of those high performers. So they're able to get insight into why they're getting cut off, insight into why they can be losing people kind of in the paperwork stage, like when they've already got the yes, why are customers pulling back last minute? So it's insight into where the skill set is and where they're lacking. So then the coaches have the information they need to give targeted training to get better outcomes. Because the more data you have, the more in control of your growth you are.
Yeah, definitely. That's phenomenal. So what type of technology does your app use in order to kind of fulfill on that, to monitor that?
So the guys on the field, it can either be done on the phone or the tablet. Just after every interaction, they're going, how far through my pitch did I get? And then team leaders have the visibility over how their team are going, so they can be proactive and support them. The directors have visibility over everyone, so can really be guiding people to, if you need help with this, go see that person because they're on fire today, and really drill into those. Where are these trends forming where, perhaps on Fridays, they're not performing as well.
Right.
So what are we doing on Friday mornings as a collective for actually the results to be worse than all of our other days? So it's, as I say, it's the skill set data that gives that control for the coaching to get better outcomes.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So typically, like a door-to-door rep, right? They'd go out, they'd knock on the door, either get rejected, maybe make a sale, go to the next door, right? And at the end of the day, those managers saying, hey, you set 3 homes, you closed 2, here's a couple sales you did. They're seeing that sales data, but they're not seeing what happened everywhere else. They're saying, oh, I was told no, right? They're not seeing how far they got in the process.
Yeah, they can't identify where the problem actually could lie. And so the secret sauce to it all is actually the way that I've formatted the data is in conversion rates.
Wow.
So there's conversion rates, just like a CRM with any sort of pipeline of sale will show you conversion rates between the steps. I've got conversion rates between each step of the sales process. And because of that, you can reverse engineer sales goals. So the guys at the beginning of the week, rather than just going, I want to set 20 appointments this week, and then just going out on hopium and hoping that they get those, they're able to go, right, 20 sales with your conversion rates, you need to speak to this many people this week to achieve that goal. So then it's up to that person to break down their week. How many people do I need to see each day? How much time do I have on the field? I'm going to time block. How many people per hour do I need to speak to make this goal happen? So your team's focus shifts from results to the process. So they can focus really, I need to speak to this many people and my conversion rates need to be this. So it's focusing on the process, not the results.
And it's interesting, when you do that, it kind of changes the mindset of the sales rep, right? Because it's not just, hey, I'm randomly going out knocking on doors and not knowing how many I need to talk to, but then they know going into it, hey, once I knock on 20 doors, I'm going to do X. Or I know
Yeah.
once I knock on 5 doors, or once I get this many not interested, now it's not a guessing game anymore. There's science behind it, right?
That's it. It removes that confusion, which then people get in their head.
Yeah.
And like if they haven't achieved the results, they can look and go, it's my close that's letting me down.
Yeah.
Who do I need to speak to? Who's really good at the close? So it takes away the confusion, then gives the clarity of focus
Yeah.
for them to improve.
So how simple is it for you to walk me through kind of the process? So a rep knocks on the door, has an interaction, walks away, and now he just, basically checks a couple boxes of, hey, how that interaction went, or how does it work?
Just after every single interaction, they track the outcome. So outcomes tracking, I've just tried to lay it out as clear as day,
Yeah.
because in the end, all they're doing, what happened in that interaction,
Right.
and then from that you get that skill set analytics to give that power to the agents, but to also give the power to the company to drive that performance. We've had a company that has actually doubled,
Really?
more than doubled their
Wow.
productivity since using us. So they were starting at around, their law of averages was around 2 in 50.
Okay.
They're now almost at a 4 in 50 conversion rate. So yeah, they started at a 4.5% conversion rate between intro to sale, and it's now over 9.
Wow.
So yeah, it has been amazing to see how, because when you think about it, as the standards of your sales force improve, you obviously attract and retain better people, and you can get your team up and running, your new recruits up and running quicker, because they're not seeing sales as this, only good people can do.
Right.
It's a talent. Like, I don't have it in me. It's like, no, this is a developable skill.
Yeah.
All you need to do is put in the work.
I remember when I first started knocking doors, I basically got kicked out of a car and said, hey, go figure it out.
Oh.
Right? And so for the first couple months, it was just knocking on doors, figuring it out, not really knowing what I was doing. If I would have had a tool like that told me, hey, you have to hit 20 doors to make a sale, at door 18, I'm thinking, oh man, I'm going to give up, right? But I didn't know 2 more doors, statistically, I'd make a sale, right? So that's phenomenal.
Exactly. So not only does it help you sort your team improve on their stats, there's also that accountability of,
Right.
I need to see the people as well, and being aware of those numbers, that let's see out my day. Let's not give up too early, because you never know,
Right.
those 1 or 2 extra will get the results that you desire.
And I'm sure your clients are probably seeing too, they're seeing that data saying, hey, this reps is really productive between these hours. You're really productive between these hours. And you can kind of see the times of day too, based on maybe there's a neighborhood that's really productive in the morning, or there's a neighborhood that's really productive in the evening or midday, right?
That's right. So every single interaction is time-stamped. So
Yeah.
there's that extra level of accountability. If someone's actually like, I don't have enough time on the field to see the people that you say I need to see, and then you can just go in and go, right, well, what happened in this hour? You
Yeah.
saw 2 people.
Yeah.
Were you not working,
What
or
were
were
you
you
doing?
just
Sitting in the car
Certain-
watching Netflix, right?
Yeah,
What
or
were you doing?
were you getting carried away and speaking to a customer that was never going to be a sale?
Right.
So it's just that clarity of performance, not only work ethic, but the skill set element as well, because results are a reflection of both.
Right. I think there's a lot of software out there nowadays that reps use that tell them, hey, did you make the sale? Did you not make the sale, right? Were they just not interested? But this gives the managers insight into, okay, if they're not interested, how far did you make it with them? Did you just introduce yourself? Were you able to finish your pitch? Did you ask for the close, right?
Yeah, I think managers are doing their guys a disservice if they're not giving them the opportunity
Right.
to track these stats, because this is how people are given the best opportunity to grow up and build themselves in this industry, because they're building that mentality from moment go that it's a numbers game.
Right.
And the better my conversion rates are, the less time I necessarily need to be on the field to get the same results. So we've had one user that I know has massively improved, and it's not necessarily that she's submitting twice as many sales, but what it means for her is she can still lead the way with much less time on the field for herself, and she's just spending that extra time working with her guys, building her team, because that's where the longevity of this business is. It's in the team building aspect of it. So by getting better yourself, you can then build a team better as
For
well.
sure. And,
Yeah.
and I think too, this gives the new reps an opportunity to grow at an expedited rate.
Yes.
Right? Because now there's no guesswork. They've been knocking for a week. You have that data. You have the statistics. Now you can take that and apply that to their training, so they're not fumbling through those first month, 2 months. Kind of expedites that training process a little bit.
Correct. And the way, because it's not a CRM and it doesn't collect customer information, it means that it doesn't have to necessarily be a company-wide rollout.
Right.
If there's a team manager that really likes that law of averages, numerical, logical approach, they can invest in it just for their team.
Right.
Because it's, even if the company doesn't want to do it, that doesn't mean that they can't still roll this out,
Right.
because the price point isn't a very large price point that it has to be company based. I've priced it so it's accessible for the whole industry, because it's not just for the big guys. I've been in the industry for over 10 years and I've got so much respect for it. I know there's lots of money in it, but I also know people have to grind pretty hard in it.
Right.
And there's a lot of investment back in the team, and so I know a lot of companies, it's hard for them to invest, and they're like, oh, reserved, where
But the
it's
rep
like,
wants to. Yeah.
let them do it. And then when they see success, sure, the company can do it then, but I wanted it to be accessible for anyone, for any industry.
So your audience is a wide range. It could be a company wanting for all their reps. It could be a team leader. Could it also be just an individual rep that wants to...
It could be an individual rep. Obviously, an individual rep doesn't then get the benefits of the team
Correct.
visibility, but they get all the analytics on
For
themselves.
sure, on themselves to help themselves grow.
So yeah,
Right.
it can even be used on an individual level.
But I mean, this sounds like a much needed tool, right, to help reps grow and accelerate, from the start to finish. And even reps that have been around, maybe veteran reps that don't know what their averages are, that don't know that they're missing out.
Correct. And if you think about it, the veteran reps, they like, oh yeah, I know my numbers, or and they're generally probably at a plateau, because when you start something, you're focused on building that skill set, and the drive to improve is high, but then you hit the plateau and performance plateaus out. And that's why change in business is actually so essential, to kind of shift the trajectory. And so that's actually, I do a lot of work with my clients to support the rollout, because change is hard.
For sure.
And one of the things I go through with especially the leadership group, is understanding that change is an essential part of business to get yourself off the plateau, to keep that trajectory going up. And this one user that has seen, she's been like the poster girl that has seen such incredible improvement. She is so motivated. Like every quarter, I'm like, can I post your improvement again? It's so incredible.
Awesome.
And she is so motivated to keep that moving forward. I know that she'll be devastated if she sees that go down. So that she's just so motivated to keep that moving forward and to keep pushing the envelope to get better and better.
Yeah, it almost makes a game out of it, right? Because you see your stats, it's like, oh, I have a high score, now I need to go beat that high score, right? I have this average, I want to make that better, I want to get better, I want to better myself, I want to beat that high score.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, people in sales, they're a competitive bunch.
100%.
So because I've been actually asked if I was autistic by one of my clients, because he's like, you've thought of everything.
Right.
And it's because what I saw it as is the more data that is collected, that's the baseline of information that people can look at. And every week, it's not like just setting a sales goal. It's what's your improvement goal? What do you want to focus on this week to improve? So if someone's like, I want to focus actually on improving that preoccupation, that introduction stage, I want to improve that from 64% to 67 or 68%. So really small improvements, but actually those small improvements at each sort of stage actually can see massive increases in performance just from small, minute improvements through the process. Because obviously it's a numbers game.
Definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is great. I think you're gonna have. I'm excited to see how you guys do here in the United States, and excited for your rollout. Let me ask you. I mean, I assume this is your first door-to-door con that you've been to.
It is.
What do you think? What's your experience been the last couple of days? Or do you plan on coming back next year?
Of course.
Great.
Yeah, every year. So in Australia, there is nothing like this.
Yeah.
In Australia, a lot of the direct sales companies, it is cards to the chest.
Right.
It's not this sort of open industry, and I know actually
Law of
door-to-door,
abundance, right?
these door-to-door experts and the door-to-door con, I know is actually very much about, well, let's upskill and keep this industry moving forward. And so I'm on to Sam, like, bring door-to-door con to Australia,
Let's go.
because there's not just, the marketing companies in Australia, there's Australasia, there's New Zealand, so I know it'll be amazing for Australia. But for us here, it has been amazing seeing all the different vendors.
Yeah.
That's been such an eye-opening experience as to how many amazing companies there are that support this industry, and that's the benefit of conventions and things. Where with Australia not having that, we don't know what we don't know. So, and then I've been speaking to pest guys, like, bring pest to Australia. So, there's this big opening in Australia where so much of what's been done over here can be done in Australia. But for us, it's just been so amazing meeting everyone and getting to understand all the nuances of the different industries. So it's just, it's such a well-run and well-executed event. I've been so impressed. I haven't, unfortunately, got to go in and see any of the amazing speakers, but I'm sure next year there'll be less of the demand to be at the booth, and I might be able to enjoy the atmosphere and the actual speakers more. But I hands down so impressed with the event.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming. One last question. For those that thought about becoming a vendor but didn't pull the trigger, what would you say to them about coming next year as a vendor?
It's for me, actually, my experience, I was horrified. I was in Australia, like, it's big, it is expensive, especially with the Australian dollar. But the biggest thing for us is actually, like, feel the fear, do it anyway. If the sales industry has taught me anything, it is about getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
100%.
So just push it, do it, and you never know. It's not just about the sales people and the companies that are here, it's also about the relationships you form with all the vendors. So 100% do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Connor. We appreciate you being on the Door to Door podcast, and hope the rest of the weekend goes great.